Imagine this scenario. A man is by himself smoking a cigarette, and another man walks up to him and says, "You realize what you're doing right now is very harmful to your body." And the other guy responds with, "But you're literally holding a Big Mac in your hand. You're damaging your body as well." Then that's when the other guy says, "You are deflecting my statement with a counter statement of your own. This is whataboutism, and your argument is fallacious." And then that's when the other guy responds with, "That is not whataboutism. You decided to take a false moral high ground, and I am simply calling out your hypocrisy. You idiot. You absolute buffoon." And that's when the other guy says, No, I don't understand the concept of sanctimoniousness leading to people calling me out for my own wrongdoings. Therefore, I will just keep accusing you of this logical fallacy to make you feel like an idiot."
You shut the fuck
But
up!
also,
You shut the fuck
let
up!
it get you a little bit.
You shut the
If you spend any time in the sphere of politics or debates, you likely are aware of the term whataboutism. Whataboutism is, according to the Oxford Dictionary, the technique or practice of responding to an accusation or difficult question by making a counter-accusation or raising a different issue. So, for example, if I said, "Murdering people is bad," and someone responded with, "Well, you play violent video games, so obviously you must think it's not that bad." That would be an example of whataboutism. But, you see, the whataboutism in question needs to be disconnected from the original topic for it to truly count as a fallacy, because there are situations in which so-called whataboutism can be a reasonable response in calling out one's hypocrisy. For example, imagine if someone were to say, "We need to stop taking in so many migrants. We don't have enough room for these Africans and Muslims." But then someone else were to follow it with, "But just last week you were saying we should take in more Ukrainian refugees. What is with this inconsistency?" That is a good use of whataboutism, since it shows that the former person likely wasn't actually concerned with immigration as they claimed, but instead the groups of people who were immigrating. This proves that the person was actually being dishonest, and their quarrel was not with immigration generally, but it was a dog whistle to hide their underlying issue. Another reasonable use of whataboutism would be if someone were to say, "I'm a leftist, and I think NATO is a force for good, as they are currently fighting against Russian imperialism." And you were to respond with, "But NATO has a long history of imperialism as well. Just look at Kosovo, Afghanistan, and Libya. Millions of innocent people have been killed as a result of Western aggression. Russia is obviously bad, but to say NATO is a force for good is quite dishonest." Now, if you were to say this, the person would probably respond with lots of accusations of whataboutism, naturally. But they were the ones who made the statement of NATO being a morally righteous force, right? And you simply responded with examples of the contrary. This is a good, if not necessary, use of whataboutism, because you are holding a recipient accountable when they were trying to take a moral high ground. If there is a conflict and one side makes accusations of another, while said accuser has their own history of doing the exact same thing they're accusing you of, then it is perfectly reasonable to counter their argument by mentioning their hypocrisy. You should not be able to throw around the term whataboutism whenever someone is calling out your hypocrisy. This video goes out to all the people who act as if argumentative fallacies are some sort of way to dismiss a person's arguments. They are not. Argumentative fallacies do not necessarily take away from the point of an argument, and when you completely disregard a person's argument due to their fallacies, that is in itself a fallacy of its own, and also very cringe. I hope this video did you well. Goodbye.